Percy Jackson and the Olympians.
The movie Troy, when looked at from a historical point of view, took most of its basic plotline from Homer's Iliad. The film's intention was to depict the Trojan War in a way that would bring in lots of cash at the box office. There's no doubt about that. If you're intending to watch this film and expecting it to be an accurate adaptation of the Iliad, you will be severely disappointed.
Nearly 3,000 years ago, the passion for one woman ignited the greatest battle ever fought for love.
The greatest battle ever fought for love! Fantastic! The director created a very human story, didn't he? Leaving out the involvement from the gods throughout the war completely. Look at Paris and Helen. Completely unaware that their love for each other is going to ignite what would be known as the Trojan War. And they get a happy ending? They get to run away together? Homer clearly had it wrong.
I want her back. Will you go to war with me, brother?
Here we have Menelaus, feeble old husband of Helen, ruler of Sparta, and the brother of Agamemnon, head king of all the Greeks. He's begging his brother to go to war with him to get the lovely Helen back. He deserves a happy ending, doesn't he? He clearly loves her, so he should be treated with kindness. Wrong. According to Hollywood, he deserves to die. They have Paris seek him out for hand-to-hand combat over Helen, and Paris succeeds in killing him. But in the myth, the gods that have been written out of the film completely intervene, and both Paris and Menelaus survive. Not only does Menelaus survive, he is one of the few Greek leaders to survive both the war and the trip home. In the legend, he and Helen return to Sparta. I guess that was too dull for Hollywood filmmakers.
We're sending the largest fleet that ever sailed.
We need the greatest warrior.
Achilles can't be controlled.
Be careful, King of Kings. First you need victory.
I won't ask you to fight my war. You already have.
Funny they should mention the war. For some reason that is unbeknownst to me, they felt the need to shorten the Trojan War from 10 years of long and strenuous fighting to approximately 2 weeks. Apparently they really know how to get things done.
will ever submit to a foreign ruler.
In the film, they play Hector up as quite the cold-blooded killer, having him kill both Menelaus and Ajax. The myth of the matter being, he didn't kill either one of them. As I mentioned earlier, Menelaus survived, and as for Ajax, one of Helen's suitors who was forced to fight, he killed himself. Ajax did fight in single combat against Hector on a number of occasions, but he was never slain. In fact, they exchanged gifts. Hector gave Ajax his sword, and Ajax gave Hector his belt. After Achilles was killed, his armor was awarded to the most heroic Greek. Ajax believed it should be him, but it was awarded to someone else. Ajax then went mad and tried to kill the prize winner and all the other Greeks. He then proceeded to kill himself using the sword that Hector gave him.
Then every son of Troy shall die.
Beautifully and dramatically spoken, Agamemnon. Despite your aggressive tendencies, I don't think you deserve to die in a ridiculously incorrect fashion in this pitiful excuse for a film. In the movie, Briseis stabs Agamemnon before they take the city of Troy. In the myth, Agamemnon makes it safely home. The movie completely removed the role of Cassandra, who was Agamemnon's war prize. He was supposed to return home with her, and his wife kills him and Cassandra out of a jealous rage.
We will be together in this world or the next.
Immortality!
Before my time is done, I will look down on your corpse and smile.
Oh, the love between Achilles and Perseus is just so powerful and beautiful. It is technically pretty accurate, minus one minor detail. Briseis was given to Achilles as a war prize before the Trojan War, not during. She was not a prisoner of Troy. When Achilles slew Menes and the brothers of Briseis, she was his prize. Even though she was a war prize, Achilles and Briseis did fall in love with each other, as portrayed in the film. Now you might be wondering, why have her kill Agamemnon if you wanted him to die? Why not just kill him in combat? Well, at one point, Agamemnon took Briseis from Achilles, but not for the reasoning shown in the film, which was to prove his power. He only took her because his own war prize had been taken from him. Maybe they were going for a feminism angle, and that's why she went crazy and killed him. See, there's Achilles, fighting alongside his fellow warriors against the city of Troy after the Trojan horse was wheeled in. What is supposed to happen is that after Achilles kills Hector, he faces certain death and is shot by Paris in the heel with an arrow. But this happens much earlier in the myth. So by the time the Trojan horse is built and wheeled into the city of Troy, Achilles is already dead. I would just like to start out by making what will probably be the most important point I make during this segment. There are no Titans in Clash of the Titans. Not a single one. I think Hollywood got gods and Titans mixed up, which is ridiculous. Titans are in fact the predecessors of the gods on Mount Olympus. And trust me, this is just the first of many hilarious mistakes that they made. This movie claims to be loosely based on the myth of Perseus. Very loosely based, apparently.
Have you seen what's happening out there? Have you even bothered to look?
Oh, look, we've got the lovely Andromeda to start us off. She was just a splendid princess from Greek mythology who was punished for her mother's bragging. Her mother claimed that her daughter was more beautiful than the sea nymph. Andromeda was then chained to a rock as a sacrifice to the sea monster Thetis, not the Kraken, but I'll get into that error later. She was then saved from death by Perseus, who is supposed to become her husband at the end. I'll get into that one later too. And here we have Hades and Zeus, typical characters included in a Greek mythology movie. However, we appear to be missing an extremely important factor in this equation. Apparently, no one cares about Poseidon. He could have played an important role, because the sea monster who was supposed to swallow Andromeda whole well, it would have been controlled by Poseidon. Also, the other sea monsters that are mentioned throughout the movie, they would have been controlled by Poseidon too. It's quite ridiculous because the character does appear in the beginning of the movie. Barely. They could have easily written him a bigger part, and maybe the movie would have been more redeemable.
They need to be reminded of the order of things.
Another woman? Why is there another woman? We have Andromeda. Do we need another female lead in this movie? Apparently we do, just to screw with the heads of the audience a little more. I guess the filmmakers felt the romantic aspect of the film needed to be spiced up, so they threw in Io as another love interest for Perseus. The good news, Io is in fact a figure out of Greek mythology. The bad news, she has nothing to do with the story of Perseus. She only has one single connection to him, and that would be that she's actually his great-grandmother. The movie says that she's a demigoddess who has been watching over Perseus his whole life, but she was nothing more than one of Zeus's many human mistresses that Hera tried to kill. Disgusting? I think so. I think they did this strictly for audience purposes, because having Perseus and Io end up together in the end, which they did, would apparently be more interesting than the myth. Perseus and Andromeda get married and proceed to quietly rule Mycenae. Not good enough for Hollywood, I guess.
Turn them on each other.
One day, somebody's gonna have to make a stand. One day, somebody's gotta say enough.
If I do this, I do it as a man.
But you are not just a man.
That blink and you might miss it shot of a crate being thrown into the water reminded me of another major error the filmmakers made. The movie begins with a fisherman named Spyros finding a coffin adrift in the sea, discovering a baby, Perseus, and his dead mother, Danae. Spyros decides to raise Perseus as his own, and the story goes from there. They couldn't have screwed it up more if they tried. 1. Perseus' mother survived this incident. 2. The fisherman was actually a prince, whose brother was the ruler of Seripo, and the brother fell in love with Danae. 3. Once Perseus was grown up, he was sent on a quest to bring back the head of Medusa to get him out of the way so the fisherman's brother could live happily ever after with Danae. This whole plotline is completely mangled to live up to a particular Hollywood ideology. Ridiculous.
Release the Kraken!
The Kraken? What's that? I didn't know that was a part of Greek mythology. Oh my god, that's so cool! The Kraken is not a part of Greek mythology. You're still not a part of Greek mythology. Get over it!